Hey, so we are 3/4 through 2023, if you can believe it, and I'm here to recount everything that I watched during this quarter from July to September. It's about as simple as that, so let's just get to it. Alright, so starting off with the category in cinemas, and this is for the month of July. First up, I saw Insidious 5, which I reviewed on the channel. It's a movie that I enjoyed quite a bit because it's an Insidious movie. It was like this nostalgic trip. It was kind of like, it was just nice to spend some time in the further again. But it was sort of meh in the end, to be honest. It didn't blow me away like I was hoping and expecting. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Then next up, I saw a movie called Lost in the Stars, which is a Chinese movie about a man whose wife goes missing, and then there is an intruder who says that she's his wife, but he doesn't recognize her, and it just goes into this weird mystery from there. And I actually think this is a pretty damn fun movie. You don't always know where it's going. I liked it a lot. And plus, when I saw this movie in cinemas, by the way, it wasn't a projector showing the movie. It was like a massive TV screen. I think it was called a Samsung Onyx or something like that. And I felt like I was getting ripped off or something. I'm like, well, why the hell isn't this like a normal projector and a normal movie and stuff? But by the time I was actually sitting there watching the movie, it literally made no difference and you couldn't tell. Couldn't tell at all, so who cares? Anyway, next up, now we are up to the month of August. I watched Talk to Me in cinemas, which blew me away. I mean, like, this movie I was not expecting much out of. I saw the trailer, I thought it looked really generic and pretty shitty. To be honest, I just thought this was going to be one of those really generic, shitty, you know the bad Blumhouse movies? I know a lot of people don't like Blumhouse at all, but you know the really bad ones, the Truth or Dares or whatever of Blumhouse? I was expecting Talk to Me to be pretty much a exact copy of one of those sorts of movies, but no. Talk to Me is easily one of the best movies of the year. If you don't know what it's about like these, I guess this group of teenagers who find a way to communicate with the dead or whatever, and find a way so that they can let their bodies be possessed by the dead, but only up to, I don't know, 90 seconds I think it was. If it goes for longer than 90 seconds, well, they're stuck in you, and I think it's pretty obvious where that's going, but they do it in a really clever way. Like, they turn this communicating to the dead thing here into something of a party trick, and it becomes sort of an allegory for drug addiction, as they all get this like high thrill out of it, even though they know that it's bad for them. I found that aspect really interesting. As you watch the main character just make bad decision after bad decision, fucking herself up more and more, and there was something really real to that, I thought. This is a really dark movie as well, and it's just cool. Plus it's Australian, and some Australian YouTubers made it. I forgot what they're called, but that's kind of an inspirational side to it as well, and the obligatory thing that you have to say when you're reviewing this movie as a YouTuber. You have to be like, YouTubers made this. Next up, I saw Barbie in cinemas, and again, one of the best movies of the year by far. Barbie is absolutely hilarious, and I hate to say it because I know that it's a movie all about the empowerment of women and stuff, but Ryan Gosling's Ken stole the show. I am Ken-uff. I love him so much. Everything he did was hilarious. I don't know what to tell you. Every moment he was on screen, I was loving it, but pretty much the whole movie was like absolutely amazing. Everything about it, I love, and I will definitely be buying that when it comes out. Now we're up to the month of September, and I saw The Nun 2, which was better than I was expecting it to be. After the first Nun, which we all know was pretty shit, right? But for some reason made, the most money out of the Conjuring franchise? For some reason. We knew they were going to come out with a sequel, and they did, and it was fine. It was pretty good. It was okay. Whatever word you want to go with there. I didn't hate it. Then I saw A Haunting in Venice, the next Agatha Christie detective thing by Kenneth Branagh, and it was another movie that was fine. I don't know. I don't love these movies, but they can be fun. You know, you guess what's going on and stuff, who the killer is and everything. And this was probably the weakest of the three so far, I will say. But I don't know. It had kind of a horror edge to it. I liked some things like that. It was okay. Then I didn't hate it. Saw X or Saw 10 or whatever the hell we're calling it. Just the other day I reviewed this on the channel. Plus, by the way, my spoiler review, it's got 11,000 views at the moment. It's not going too badly. I'm pretty happy with progress of that video, especially since it's only been like a day or so. That's cool. Thanks. If you're watching this, watch that video if you've seen the movie or if you don't care about spoilers. Anyway, Saw X though, or Saw 10, is a movie that's sort of disappointed me, if I'm being honest. Being a huge fan of Saw. I struggle to show this on camera sometimes, but Huge fan of Saw. I was expecting this story to be more convoluted in a good way. I was expecting it to be more twisty and turny, flashbacks and altering timelines and all this kind of shit, but instead it was very straightforward. It pretty much played out in chronological order, and it just didn't blow my mind like I think the movie thought it was going to. There was just something really simplistic about it, which is not what I like about Saw. Yeah, there were traps in it, but again, that's not really what I like about Saw either, really. I mean, there were some creative ones, you know, the eyeball popping one and everything. It was pretty fun, I guess, but I don't know, man. Just, this movie didn't quite hit as hard as I was hoping to, but like, I still loved it. Like, I can still say I had a good time and at least liked it a lot. You know, it was a Saw movie that I saw in cinemas. That's an exciting moment for me, and I'm not complaining. I hope it does well, because I want them to make more. I want to see another one, whether it's between 2 and 3 or 1 and 2 or whatever. If it's in that era, cool. If it's after number 7 and Spiral, if that counts, cool. But yeah, I don't know. That's that, I suppose. Now I'm up to the next category, which is 2023 movies at home, and this is the only one I watched in the month of September. This is, it hardly counts, by the way, Mark Normand Soup to Nuts. It's a stand-up special by a comedian that I like, that I thought was weaker than other ones of his, to be honest. I didn't love this one all that much, but it was okay. And now we're up to the next category already, which is older movies that I watched for the first time, which is, when I say older, just prior to 2023. That's the only criteria. It can be from last year. That still counts as an older movie. But these are first time watches. So first up in July, I watched A Man Called Otto, which is a beautiful movie. I love A Man Called Otto so much. I know a lot of people kind of make fun of this movie as being like this old person, like cutesy sort of movie that you don't take too seriously. It's kind of like a nice little soap opera or something like that. But no, man, A Man Called Otto is like, oh my god, it made me cry pretty much constantly fucking throughout the entire thing. I'm half the man that Otto is, and there's just something about this movie that it feels really, really special and emotional to me, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like not a lot of other people feel this way. A lot of people kind of think this movie sucks from what I've heard, but I absolutely love this movie with my whole fucking heart. I love it. Then I watched a movie called Bringing Out the Dead from, I think it was 1999, with Nicolas Cage as a paramedic, but he's also got insomnia and he's kind of going nuts, and it was okay. Then I watched Cars 2 for the first time. Never seen this one, at least not for a very long time. This might be a rewatch. I don't know. I'm kind of confused about that, but I know I've seen parts of it before, but I don't think I've seen the whole thing before. Anyway, I watched Cars 2 and yeah, it's kind of shit. You know what they do with Cars 2 that is a big mistake? They make Mater the main character. Why? Why would you do that? I don't know. Why did I watch Cars 2? I don't know. I was watching the Cars movies with my wife. I still haven't watched 3 yet though. Anyway, now we are up to the month of August. The only older movie that I watched in that month was Don John, which I thought was really good. Given the subject matter, a lot of people don't actually take this movie like too seriously or anything, but I think it's really well done, coming from a real place of truth, and I like it a lot. Now we're up to September, and I went through all of the Rocky franchise. I had already seen the first one and Rocky Balboa, so those are in my rewatch category, but starting off here with the older movies for the first time watches, I watched Rocky 2, 3, 4, and 5. And man, I gotta say, I pretty much like every Rocky movie, about on par with each other, to be honest. The first one's probably the best. Rocky Balboa is a very close second, I think, or maybe even my very favorite. But when it comes to 2 to 5 here, I pretty much feel the same about every single one of them. I don't know, man. Like, you know, in 4 he gets a robot and fights a futuristic sci-fi Russian man, and it's a bit silly, but overall they're all pretty grounded, fun little movies that like are inspirational and stuff. They get to your heart. I don't know, they were just a good little time to watch all of them, I suppose. And I don't typically connect with older movies quite a bit, to be honest. I struggle with older movies a bit, but with the Rocky franchise, I pretty much enjoyed myself all the way through them. By the way, I'm not up to the rewatches, but I just want to say something about Rocky 1 specifically. Like, the character of Rocky is really well written, actually, I think. Like, Sylvester Stallone does something with this character where he's kind of an idiot, really. Like, he really is dumb, but in this very realistic, charming way where you respect him. You know, he's not like, I don't know how to word it. Like, he's not that well spoken, he's not that well read, he's clearly not that well educated, but he's this just very hard-working, committed, normal guy who we can kind of relate to and look up to in a way. And because of that, I actually find the character really inspirational, and I like these movies a lot. I don't know, but there's this really funny moment in Rocky 1 that I wanted to mention. It follows a sort of uncomfortable scene where he's asking Adrian to come inside persistently. She keeps saying no, and he's like, yeah, come in, and he keeps pushing it, and I always find that scene really uncomfortable, to be honest.
Hey, you wanna come inside?
No, I gotta go.
Hey, come on in.
No, I gotta go.
Well, I gotta go too. I gotta go to the bathroom. Come on.
No, I gotta go.
Hey, look at his face. Is that a face you can trust or what? Huh? Come on in. Yo.
But anyway, after she does come inside though, he kind of just like sits down on his couch, and there's this really funny moment, just to me. I might be the only one that finds this really funny, but he sits on his couch and it's like, hey, come sit down. It's a nice couch. I don't know. And he doesn't pause for a second. It's just like, it's a nice couch. I don't know.
Yo, why don't you come on over here and sit down? It's a nice couch. I don't know.
But it kind of cuts to the shot of him like sitting on the couch from like sort of far away, and he's just sitting on like this dirty, disgusting looking couch with newspapers all over it and shit like that. It's not a nice couch. I don't know. I found that part kind of funny. Anyway, those are the Rocky movies, I suppose. Then I was kind of sad that the Rocky movies were over, so I watched Grudge Match, the Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone boxing movie from 2013, where they box. And it wasn't that good, but John Bernthal is in it, so that was fun. Then I watched a movie with my dad called 12 Mighty Orphans, which is about like this American football. It's a team made up of orphans who all live together, and it's one of those really like sweet, tugging at the heartstring, cliche type of movies that are sort of corny and everything, but it was okay. Then I watched a movie called Long Story Short, which is about a man who finds himself in a predicament where every few minutes a year of his life passes. Basically what that does to him, what affects his life here, what he's done on autopilot for the previous year is everything that he has to deal with. And I found this movie, Like a Man Called Otto, despite how corny it was in some moments, very emotional. I like this movie. I love it quite a lot, to be honest. Then I watched Jim Carrey, another stand-up special called Unnatural Act. And yeah, it was good. It was pretty funny, I suppose. Then I watched one called John Pinette, I Say Nay Nay. And I watched a movie called The Jerk, which is about him kind of just traveling across America and I don't know, just doing stuff, doing nothing. It has no plot almost. He's like this poor guy who then gets rich somehow, and then I don't know. You stop paying attention for 5 minutes and his life entirely changes and he's doing something completely different now. But it was kind of funny. I liked moments during this movie. It was okay. And then I watched another Steve Martin movie from 87, I think this is, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. In this though, he plays the straight man against John Candy, who is just this guy who is annoying him as they have to, again, travel across the country. Actually, they're on sort of a road trip trying to get back to his family in time for Thanksgiving, so it's like, it's kind of corny in that way and whatever, but like, yeah, I don't know, it's an okay movie. I've heard of the title of this movie fucking so many times throughout my life, as if it's this like big classic film that you have to see and it's amazing and the funniest fucking thing ever. I will say, in terms of that, pretty overrated. Like, it was just a standard okay comedy that I enjoyed, but like, I was thinking about it while watching it and it's like, they would never make this movie today. Like, what is this movie about? What, a guy just trying to get somewhere? And like, that's fine, and I enjoy that. I'm almost criticizing Hollywood today or whatever for not doing something like this, but they wouldn't. You need more of a plot than that. You need something to sell people on, more so than just, it's a dude who travels across the country, right? I was just thinking about that while I was watching it. Anyway, now we're up to the next category, which is rewatches. Where in the month of July, I rewatched a movie called Dinner for Schmucks with Paul Rudd and Steve Carell. This is a movie that me and my wife really loved when we were younger, and a lot of people think it's kind of shit. I gotta say, it still holds up for me. I still find it quite funny. Steve Carell plays this weird guy. Paul Rudd plays the straight man who is like trying to do well in his business, corporate job and whatever. And basically he finds out that the people at his work do this monthly thing where they bring in, or maybe it's annual, I don't know. They bring in freaks for this dinner. For some reason. It's the weirdest fucking plot ever, to be honest, and it doesn't feel very realistic, but just buy it for a second. Anyway, Paul Rudd comes across Steve Carell's weird character and he decides to bring him to this dinner. The dinner itself, who cares? But the friendship between Paul Rudd and Steve Carell in particular, and all the problems that he brings up for him in his life, it's funny to me. I don't know what to tell you. Plus, there's this one scene with Chris O'Dowd, the dude who plays Roy in the IT Crowd, and he plays this like French artist blind man sort of guy, and he's painting, and he says, oh, I love to paint. And the other guy says, oh, are you any good? And he says, I don't know, because he's blind. It's a dumb joke. I don't know.
I love to paint.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love to paint.
Oh, wow. Are you any good?
I don't know.
Of course not.
Anyway, the next movie that I watched, the rewatches were Rocky and Rocky Balboa, but I already kind of talked about them. I would say those two are great movies. The rest of the franchise are like good, they're okay. But Rocky 1 and Rocky Balboa, pretty great. Then I watched rewatched Creed. I didn't rewatch 2 and 3 because I had watched them sort of recently when Creed 3 came out, but I hadn't rewatched the first Creed when Creed 3 came out, so I rewatched the first Creed. Then we're now up to the month of September. I watched One Cut of the Dead because I showed this to my parents hoping that they were going to like it. This was a rough watch for the first 2/3 of the movie. They were like pissed off at me almost. They're like, can you tell me, like, no offense, but why do you like this movie? That's what my mum said to me. Like, they thought I was completely delusional for liking this thing. They fucking hated it. They thought it was terrible. They thought it looked like it was made for about $5. And to be honest, they were kind of right. I think I looked it up, and however many yen it was that this was, in Australian dollars, it was like $30,000 or something. So yeah, shoestring budget, all that shit. But then we got to the third act, the final kind of reveal where the movie really turns in on itself and becomes what makes it special, and they kind of fell in love with it, and I'm very proud to say that, yeah, we all kind of enjoyed ourselves during the end of this film. And my mum herself said it was worth watching despite how shit it was at the start. But the thing is, the start is meant to be shit. That's kind of the point. You watch it, it's shit, and then you kind of find out why it was shit. I don't want to spoil too much, you know, I don't want to give it away, but please watch One Cut of the Dead. If you haven't seen it, it is about these people making a zombie film, but then there are real life zombies. Oh no. It goes from there, and there's something really special about this movie. I highly recommend it. If you have Shudder, that's where it is. Get Shudder if you don't, and watch it. Then I rewatched a movie called Meet Dave. This is an Eddie Murphy comedy, another movie that me and my wife used to like quite a bit when we were younger. In this, Eddie Murphy plays this, not alien, but a spaceship. Basically, Eddie Murphy's body is a spaceship with lots of little mini people in him, including an alien Eddie Murphy, as they kind of co-pilot this body thing that's supposed to look like a person, but, you know, and blend in and stuff, but actually it's this spaceship trying to get some special fucking thing from the Earth. I don't remember, but point is, it's just a bunch of jokes about Eddie Murphy being this alien spaceship thing, not fitting in with humans, and I find it pretty funny. I like it, whatever, fuck yous all. I know a lot of people don't like this movie. Speaking of which, I then rewatched a movie called 1,000 Words, another Eddie Murphy comedy from the same era, like 2008. Meet Dave came out, I think this came out in 2012, so same sort of era for Eddie Murphy here. This is about a guy who has to not talk, basically. He gets assigned to this tree or whatever, and every word he speaks, a leaf falls off, and when all the leaves fall off, he's going to die, and basically it's just about him learning to listen instead of being this loudmouth asshole kind of guy and whatever. And, you know, it's kind of like Click or Bruce Almighty or Liar Liar or whatever. It's one of those sorts of comedies, and it's okay. I like it, you know. I probably didn't like it as much as I remembered liking it back in the day, but I like it. Then I rewatched just last night The Dark Knight. And I was watching this movie, and I'm like, I know it's good. I know I love it, right? Like, I really, really do. But I'm watching it, I'm like, but come on. It's got to be overrated, right? Like, I haven't watched this movie in a while. Let's watch it. Let's figure out what I think about it. It's going to be overrated. It's going to be not that great. Okay, we know Heath Ledger as the Joker is amazing, right? What else does it have going for it? Well, I got to tell you, by the end, I was kind of pissed off to say a fucking lot. This movie is absolutely incredible in just about every way. Like, the over hype of it makes me kind of want to go against it. Be like, fuck off. It's overrated. Come on. But it's not. It's simply not overrated. It's everything about it. It's just incredible. It's just an incredible movie, and nothing has not been said about this movie already, so I'm just gonna stop. I cannot possibly put into words any better than anybody else has put into words about this film. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good fucking movie. I think we all know that. Now, just quickly, I want to get through the TV shows that I watched. There aren't that many. First up, I watched a documentary series on Netflix called The Most Hated Man on the Internet, which I thought was pretty good. Then I'm now currently still watching The Office for the first time, technically. I mean, I've seen episodes here and there before, but I always gave up on it because I never really liked it. I never understood how it was a comfort show when a lot of it is based on cringe humor and uncomfortable humor. I'm like, how is that comforting then? Everything is cringy and stuff, so it's like, that's not comforting to me, right? But, well, I'm up to, I think, season 4 or 5 or something. I think 5 now, and I've fucking turned around on that opinion, I tell you that much. And I guess it's not all based on cringe, but I mean, still a lot of it is, but there is something comforting about these characters and everything. And this is probably going to be one of my very favorite shows by the time I finish this thing, I think. And I imagine this isn't going to be my first watch through of this series. It's great. Everybody's right. Okay. I was sort of against it for the longest time, but fuck it. Everybody's right. It's a good damn show. And it's like the most popular fucking show in the world, just by the way. Like, as I'm watching through the series, I keep recognizing memes and like sounds on TikToks and YouTube shorts and stuff. Like, this is one of the most used shows on the internet, if that makes any sense. There's memes everywhere throughout this thing. Anyway, now I'm also rewatching Dexter with my wife. She hasn't seen it, so I'm showing her Dexter, and that's kind of exciting for me. Then I watched a show called Colin from Accounts, an Australian dramedy sort of show that's pretty good. Then another Australian show that I watched is called Upright, about these two people who have to travel across the country. Another traveling across the country thing, except this time it's Australian, so the country in question is Australia. And that's pretty good as well. And so that is everything that I watched. It's a bit of a short one this time, although now that I'm looking at the timer as I'm saying this, I'm almost half an hour in. I'm sure I'll cut that down, so but still, it's actually not as short as I was expecting it to be. But I did buy some things. But I do have the caveat of saying that this isn't everything that I bought in the past couple months, to be honest. So the title, or whatever I'm going to name this and everything, is probably a little bit of a lie. I know I bought some extra stuff that I'm not about to talk about. Well, I'm kind of going to point it out, but like The Nice Guys here, for example, I know that I got that recently, and I got the Twilight movies on Blu-ray down here recently. I don't know. I got a bunch of stuff, to be honest, recently that were all upgrades that I already had on DVD, upgraded to Blu-ray, or 4K. I think they were all Blu-ray though. But they are all organized over here, and I'm not bothering with that. I'm not going to go through that. So instead, I'm just going to go through some movies that I bought literally just yesterday, and it's because it was an exciting little moment where they were all on sale at Big W, the shop in Australia, if you're familiar with it, for literally $1. All DVDs, but I got them all for $1, and literally the savings on the receipt went up to $477. I saved nearly $500 technically by spending, what, 26 or something. So, I don't know, it was kind of an exciting moment. But yeah, let's go through that. Okay, so they're all still in the packaging. There's the $1 thing. I bought, not watched, The Suicide Squad. Probably maybe one of the best ones that I bought just yesterday, so that's cool. Then I got The Last Duel, which is a movie that I absolutely fucking love and don't think I own. Don't think that I own. I hope I don't. I'm pretty sure I don't. Either way, it was $1, so who cares? Then I got Free Guy, which is actually a movie that I quite don't like. I find this movie really irritating, but I got it. Speaking of movies I actually don't like that much. The French Dispatch, I don't like this movie very much, but it's a Wes Anderson movie. It's still quite new, and for $1, I can't fucking say no to a $1 DVD. I'm sorry, I just can't. Then I got Hector and the Search for Happiness. Is that what it's called? Hector and the Search for Happiness? Yes. And this is a movie that I remember not really liking when I watched it a few years ago, to be honest, but I don't know, I love Simon Pegg, so, you know, complete the collection of owning all the Simon Pegg movies, I guess. Then I got Nightmare Alley, which is a movie that I don't even remember that well. I remember they're at a carnival during the first half or third or something like that, and I thought it was great. Then they leave the carnival, and I'm like, hey, this isn't that good anymore. Then I got 8th Grade, which is a pretty good movie as well, that I kind of don't remember that well either. Then Pig, also one of the best ones that I got just yesterday, just for $1 on DVD. Pig, that's pretty cool. I thought that was good. And then I got this movie called The Birthday Cake, which I have not seen, but I've actually heard of this thing being fucking atrocious, apparently. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it's really terrible, and it kind of makes me morbidly curious. That's sort of why I brought it, because I wanted to watch it. Plus, my wife wanted to get it because it's got Penn Badgley from You in it, and this other guy, from Prison Break. I don't know. We bought it. It was $1. Who cares? And next up, I got this movie called Shirley about Shirley Jackson. That's her name, right? The writer of The Haunting of Hill House and a bunch of other books and stuff like that. Then I got this movie called Ava or AVA or something. And I don't know. It looks like a spy kind of thing. I barely know what that is. And I got West Side Story that came out just 2 years ago, and it's honestly, this is a movie I don't like all that much, and it feels really pointless getting it on DVD because it's a very highly digitalized, nice looking sort of movie. Like everything in it looks very fake but perfect, and I feel like you should get this on 4K, not DVD. But again, it was the sale. I lost myself in the sale a little bit yesterday, okay? Then I got this Liam Neeson movie that came out like last year or the year before called The Marksman, and haven't seen it, but I don't know, man. Again, got lost in the fucking sale. Then I got this called Tesla, about Nikola Tesla, I suppose, and yeah, I own that. Then I got Schitt's Creek, the first 3 seasons for $1, and I'm sorry, but that's insane. I wasn't gonna not get 3 seasons of a TV show for $1. That's just, my brain exploded a little bit. I got it. Then next up, and there's an explanation for this and the next group of these, I got Mary Poppins. I got this because Australia, supposedly, the past couple months or so, has been talking about how we do not have access to Disney physical media anymore. They're stopping the releases. They're not making those things anymore. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think, was the last Disney piece of physical media that they're putting out, which deeply upsets me. Deeply upsets me. So I'm hoping that things like Mary Poppins might be fucking worth something one day. The Aussie version of it, maybe. Am I delusional in thinking that? Probably, but I don't know. I thought, hey, it's probably going to be one of the last chances I actually have to get a fucking Disney movie on DVD, maybe? Like, soon enough anyway. I'm sure they're going to clear out eventually, right? So, I thought I would get it. And speaking of, I also got numerous Marvel movies for the exact same reason, plus all of these are part of the same sort of collection, this white looking DVD pack. And I thought, well, fuck it, I'll get them all. I'm a Marvel fan, I might as well own them all. And then, yeah, this on top as well. So yeah, those are those. Hopefully, maybe they'll be worth something one day. I doubt it. I honestly do doubt it. I'm not really counting on that. But yeah, again, I'm pissed off about that whole Disney physical media thing in Australia. And the insulting thing about it, the most insulting part of it all, is that it's just us. It's literally exclusively Australia. They're like, fuck those guys specifically for some reason. Like, we got picked out of a hat or whatever, randomly. It's like, fuck these people specifically. Why? Why did Australia have to be the one to get this fucking attack? It's so annoying. I hate it so much. Like, it just happens to be the country that I live in that they're like, nah, not anymore. It bothers me. Bothers me a lot. But that's that. So those are all the things I watched and most of the things that I bought the past few months. And yeah, so see me next time in another 3 months when I wrap up the year with everything that I watched and bought in another 3 months time. But that is that for now. Thank you for watching. Please do the things. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that shit. I'm Addy. Goodbye.